Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast episode is K. We're doing letter K. If this is your first time visiting this podcast, I'm reading through the entirety of the book which I wrote, The Ultimate A to Z of Business English Idioms. I'm going through it letter by letter. Every episode is a new letter. Today we're tackling K. Now, as I go through these episodes, if this is your first episode of my podcast you're listening to, I'll dive really deep into each of these idioms, the meaning and the usage of all of them, lots of examples, lots of definitions. And then at the very end of this episode, I'll give you a quiz where I'll read a dialogue with basic business English terms, and you have to replace it with one of the idioms which I taught you in this episode. Okay, let's jump right into business English idioms, starting with K. If you do have my book at home, we're on page 73 of the book. If you don't have my book at home, no big deal. I'm going to put the entire page of my book up here on the screen for you. And again, if you're listening to the podcast and you're not even looking at the screen, that's great. Enjoy your workout, enjoy your walk, enjoy whatever you're doing. And you can always come back and take a look at the screen later if you want to review some things. Okay, let's jump in and get started. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so page 73. And again, the book will be up there on the screen for you if you don't have the book at home. Okay, first one is keep a low profile. Keep a low profile. I'm going to read you the meaning and example, then we'll dive deep into it here. Keep a low profile, meaning to avoid attracting attention to yourself. Example, after the controversy, the CEO decided to keep a low profile for a while. So keep a low profile. Maybe you made a big mistake at work. So you want to really avoid eyes on you. You really want to avoid attention on you. You're going to keep a low profile for a while. Maybe the last brainstorming session, you threw out an idea that everyone laughed at, or that idea completely fell flat. It wasn't very popular. People didn't like it. They laughed at it, whatever the case may be. Okay, so next brainstorming session, you're going to keep a low profile. You're just going to, profile, you know what a profile picture is, right? Same thing. So if you keep a low profile, you're not drawing attention to yourself at all. Or at the conference, he kept a pretty low profile at the conference and didn't make too many connections. So that's not a positive thing. Or a networking event, you have to kind of work the room. Work the room means to move around a room really effectively and efficiently, making connections with people. So don't keep a low profile at this networking event. We're there to meet people and make connections. So don't keep a low profile. So keep a low profile is avoiding drawing attention to yourself. And again, if a company does have some sort of scandal, a big recall in a product or a scandal with some staff, then that company's going to keep a low profile for a while until they figure out how to spin that PR and how to deal with it. So keep a low profile, avoid drawing attention to yourself. It's a good one. Keep an eye on the ball. And we usually say keep your eye on the ball or keep his eye on the ball, but you can also say keep an eye on the ball. And this is incredibly important. The ball in business English, the ball is your responsibility. That's basically what it is. And keep an eye on the ball. Think of tennis. I mean, a tennis player can't be playing tennis effectively if they're not keeping an eye on the ball. They need to know exactly where that ball's going at all time, the velocity, the movement, the trajectory. I mean, they need to always have their eye on the ball. So to keep your eye on the ball means you're constantly aware and monitoring progress of a task or any responsibility you have. I'm going to read you the meaning and definition here, an example. Okay, keep an eye on the ball to stay focused on the main goal or task. Example, despite the hiccups, it's important to keep an eye on the ball and not get distracted. Now, hiccups, if you don't know hiccups are little problems at work or in any kind of task you're working on. So if you have a problem is pretty big. An issue could be pretty big. A hiccup is like a small little problem that you get over. It's a small problem is a hiccup. Okay, so despite hiccups, it's important to keep your eye on the ball and not get distracted. Okay, so maybe you have a new bit of software your company is launching this week. Well, then you found a bug, and then the main IT specialist is sick. So you had a couple issues, but we need to keep our eye on the ball, keep an eye on the ball, and make sure we're focused to go forward. So you're not going to worry about other things. You're going to keep focused on the task at hand or the job that you're doing. This is really important if you're interviewing. And they can say, what type of worker are you? Do you get flustered? Flustered means overwhelmed by lots of responsibility or situations. You go, no, I can keep my eye on the ball. I can keep an eye on the ball. Again, my eye on the ball or keep an eye on the ball. Both are totally fine. Meaning I'm able to constantly understand what's happening with my projects, with my team. I won't drop the ball. I know what's happening. I know the progress of everything. I know the movement of everything. It means you're able to be on top of it. You're monitoring it. Keep an eye on the ball is very important. Or this is a new client. This is a really important client for a company. Let's keep our eye on the ball, meaning let's constantly monitor, when things are sent to them, how they respond, their language and messages and emails and meetings. Very important to keep an eye on the ball. This is a great one. Okay, next one is keep in the loop. Now the loop is like a circle. Think of a roller coaster that goes like up and down. That's a loop. So the loop is used so much in business English. I've done an entire video on loop phrases in business English because we use them so much. But to keep someone in the loop, the loop is anything inside that loop is all the important, necessary, crucial information. So if you keep someone in the loop, you keep them updated. That's all it means. So I'm going on holiday, but keep me in the loop about project A. Or I haven't been kept in the loop about this last client issue. You need to keep me in the loop. Okay, so it's very important. I'm going to read to the meaning here and the definition. An example, meaning keep in the loop to ensure someone is informed or updated about something. Example, please keep me in the loop regarding any developments on this project. Keep in the loop, keep me updated, keep me informed. Incredibly important. Okay, next one is keep one's cards close to one's chest. Now, anytime we have ones there, you're going to replace it with who you're talking about. So keep my cards close to my chest. Paul keeps his cards close to his chest. So to keep one's cards close to their chest, this means, I think about you playing a poker game, you're playing a card game. And again, so many English idioms come from military, gambling, sports. And this one comes from gambling. So if I'm playing poker and I have cards, and I'm going to keep my cards close to my chest so no one can see my cards. That's basically what it means. I'll read you the meaning here, an example. Okay, keep your cards close to your chest, or keep one's cards close to one's chest, meaning not to reveal one's intentions or plans. Keep something secret. During negotiations, it's wise to keep your cards close to your chest. So it doesn't mean you're keeping something secret on purpose, but you're not showing or revealing anything at all. So in salary negotiations, maybe you're happier with less than they're offering you, but you're not going to tell them that. You'll take what, if they're offering you more, you're welcome you're happy to take it, right? So you're going to keep your cards close to your chest. So you're not going to reveal like, wow, that's good. No, okay, that sounds fine. So you're not going to reveal your intentions or how you feel about something. Or again, if you're working with a company and a supplier, and the supplier is offering you something that maybe is not ideal for your company, but you still want to keep a relationship with them. So maybe you're disappointed in what they're offering, but you're not going to reveal that you're disappointed. You're going to keep your cards close to your chest. You're going to go, that's interesting. However, why don't we try this? You're not necessarily revealing your true feelings or intentions in a meeting or when you're speaking with someone, if you're keeping your cards close to your chest. So you think of again like a poker game. You have your cards, you're keeping them really close. No one knows what you're holding in your hand, so they don't know your true intention. They don't know your true feelings. They don't know if it's positive or negative. They don't know anything. You keep your cards close to your chest. This is a tricky one to use. If you have difficulty with these, go ahead in the comments. Throw down in the comments a sentence or a scenario with some of these idioms, maybe if you're not so sure how to use them. And I do read all the comments of my podcasts and my videos, so I will check that you've learned this and you know how to use it correctly. It's a great one. Okay, keep the ball rolling. This is great. So we have get the ball rolling. And a ball, a ball that's sitting on a perfectly straight surface and the ball's just there, the ball's not going to move. But you can just move the ball a little bit, and that one little bit of push, that one little bit will cause momentum, and then the ball will be rolling and progressing. So to get the ball rolling means to start something. Now, to keep the ball rolling is to maintain that momentum. So this is so important for any type of business or product launch, to keep the ball rolling. Okay, things have started, things are progressing. We need to continue that momentum, keep the ball rolling. I'm going to read you the meaning, an example here. Keep the ball rolling, meaning to maintain momentum or progress in an activity or project. Example, we're doing great, but we need to keep the ball rolling if we want to meet the deadline. So when things are going well, you want them to continue to go well. This means to keep the ball rolling. This is fantastic. So, for example, maybe you're a team lead and your team has been very good. They've been hitting all their KPIs. Everyone seems quite happy. Okay, keep doing what you're doing. Let's keep the ball rolling. Let's continue this. Let's continue this great little bit of success you've had, this great momentum. Let's keep the ball rolling. So you've got the ball rolling. You're in a good start. Let's keep the ball rolling. Let's continue like this. Whatever you have to do to maintain the status quo, what you're currently dealing with at the moment, or the current progress, or how something's working, whatever you need to do to maintain it, do it. Keep the ball rolling. Okay, next up we have it's great. Kick around an idea. Kicking around an idea. Now I laugh at myself as I make these this podcast because when I get to a new idiom, I'm like, oh, this is great. This is great. Like obviously it's great because I put together this list of idioms. And when I started this book, I had 500 or 600 idioms that I wanted to put in here that I found essential for business English. And I thought, okay, that's a lot for a student to learn in one book. So I brought it down to like 320 or so. And I laugh at myself because I think every single episode of this podcast, I'm like, oh, this one's great. Oh, this one's great. Because they're all really great. They're all so useful. And again, with an idiom, it's not just, I mean, it's not just a word. It's just not just a word. It's a term. And with an idiom, I mean, I'm sure, of course, you have idioms in your own language as well. With this little phrase, with these 5 words, it creates an entire picture of a situation, of a perspective, of emotion. These are so useful in business English. So if I keep saying, "Oh, this is a good one," because they're all so good. And they're so useful. And when you use idioms like this in business English, they're so evocative, they're so powerful, they're so professional, they're so polished, it's so incredibly useful. I really recommend you incorporate as many idioms as possible in the work that you do when you do speak with people because they work beautifully in business English. Okay, back to this one. Kick around an idea. So kick around an idea. Imagine someone drinks a can of Coke, they throw the empty can on the ground and it's now litter. Now some little kids come by and they just start kicking the can to each other, kind of playing soccer with it, football with it. They're kicking it back and forth. Well, to kick around an idea is to play with an idea. That's exactly what it means. I'm going to read you the meaning and example here. Kick around an idea, to discuss an idea informally to see if it might work. Okay, example, we kicked around the idea of expanding into new markets during the APAC meeting. Okay, so you kick around an idea. So again, just like kids with something on the ground, they're just kicking around, playing with it to play with an idea. So for example, if you're interviewing and the interviewer says, why are you moving into this industry? You've been in finance for so many years. Why are you moving into sales? And you can say, well, I've been kicking around this idea for quite a few years, meaning I've been playing with this idea for quite a few years. And then I decided this is the path I want to follow. I want to go down. Or we had a great session with our client and they were kicking around the idea of having a discount on the next invoice because they've purchased so much, so many services from us. So kicking around, they were kind of playing with the idea, not saying we want a discount, but what do you think of having a discount going forward because we have had such a long-standing relationship with you guys. Okay, well, that's okay. We can kick around this idea, which means we can play with this idea. We can discuss this idea. So kicking around an idea is fantastic. Or you talk to your colleagues. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? I don't know. My wife and I are kicking around a few ideas. We don't know what we'll do. So we haven't decided what we want to do. We're just playing with some ideas. And then you go, okay, well, if you know where you're going, let me know. Then we'll meet up with you. So kicking around an idea, you're playing with an idea. So it's very nice. It means you're not committing to anything, but the idea is out there, and you're kind of seeing if it's going to work, if something's going to stick, if something's going to be a good plan. It's a good one. Okay, next one is kickback. And in my book, I do have a bunch of symbols, and I don't think I'll include it in the video, but I do have it here in the book. If you can see kickback, I do have a big warning sign there with kickback. because kickback has different meanings. So to kick back, to kick back as a verb idiom means to relax. What are you doing this weekend? I think I'll just kick back this weekend. Just relax this weekend. Or, how was the conference? It was fantastic. The conference was 3 busy days, but the fourth day we were able to kick back and just enjoy the city. So kick back means to relax. Careful. Kickback as a noun is kind of bribery or an illegal payment. So be careful with that one. Kickback as a verb is perfectly fine. It means to relax. I'll read you the meaning and example here. Kickback, meaning to relax, take it easy, unwind. After the conference, the team decided to kick back and unwind, just relax a little bit. And again, careful, kickback as a noun is an illegal payment. So the judge received kickback for letting the client off with not paying his taxes. So kickback is one word as a noun and it's an illegal payment. So make sure if you're using kickback, 2 words. That's positive. That means to relax. Okay, next one is kick into high gear. Okay, so if you're driving a car and you're driving, let's say, a manual transmission car, and you have to go through and you have to change your gears. Now, to kick, we know kick is with your foot, yes, but you can kick off something. Great start for something, right? So kick doesn't always have to be a foot on a ball like when you play football or soccer. So to kick into high gear is kind of when you're driving your car and you're going to go in your fourth gear and then you're revving your engine and then zoom, you kick into high gear. So this means a very strong launch into high gear, and high gear means more production, more energy, more productivity. This is a very, very, very good one. I'm going to read you the meaning and example here. Okay, kick into high gear to start working at full speed or with increased intensity. Example, with the release approaching, the advertising team kicked into high gear. Okay, so you have a big launch coming up. Everyone's working on it. Everyone's doing their job. Okay, the launch date's coming closer and closer and closer. Let's kick it into high gear, people. Like, let's work more productively. Let's increase the intensity. Let's increase the focus, increase the effort. So kick something into high gear means you're going to put a lot more energy into something, a lot more focus, a lot more intention. Kick into high gear. It's a fantastic one as well. Now, if you are involved in giving presentations, and the presentation, maybe you're giving a presentation, you find your audience is not totally engaged in what you're doing. Well, when you go to another slide and you want to say, hello people, like pay attention now, I'm going to a new slide. And if that new slide is a little bit more intense in data, in information, in graphics, in maybe you're getting them involved, you can say, okay, now we'll kick it to high gear. So they'll know now, oh, this next part's going to be interesting. This next part's going to have a lot more content. So kick into high gear, it just means that something's going to be now pushed up and intensified. It's a fantastic one as well. Okay, I'm on to the next page here, but I think it'll be the same page of the the same page of the video. Okay, next one is kick it up a notch. This is very similar to kick into high gear. Kick it up a notch to increase the intensity or quality of something. So if you kick something into high gear, which we had previously, this means you're going to reduce the intensity of something. Like as if you're driving a car, you're going to go here from fourth gear, boom, into fifth gear. So there's a push, there's an intensity. You're going to go from slower to faster, from this intensity to this intensity. To kick it up a notch is like if you were measuring something, and a notch is kind of when you carve a line into something. Think of a prisoner in an old jail cell. They'd like put a notch, a line for every year they were in jail. That's a notch, like a line to measure something. So here, to kick it up a notch means to this is where the intensity, this is where the energy, this is where the productivity is. We're gonna bring it up. And so it's a direct lift in something. I'm going to read you the meaning and example here. Kick it up a notch, increase the intensity or quality of something. Example, we need to kick our production up a notch to meet the deadline. Okay, or meet the demand. So we have our productivity, and this is what we do, but we have a lot of more products coming in. We have tighter deadlines. Okay, we need to increase our productivity. We need to, if you're working in manufacturing, okay, maybe you manufacture pens. and you can manufacture 20,000 per day. Well, you have to kick it up a notch. You now need to manufacture 25,000 a day. So kick it up a notch is to bring something up, literally bring it up. And it could be, and this would be in intensity and in speed, but also could definitely be in quality. So for example, the client was not happy with the last advertising campaign we did. The previous one, neither. We need to really kick it up a notch, which means our advertising campaign now has to be of a higher level of quality. Or, for example, you're dealing with suppliers and you notice that the supplier, their product that they've been giving you, the quality is better now than it has been for many years. So you can say, wow, you've really, kicked it up a notch in regards to your quality or in regards to your service. So if you notice quality has gone up, you can say, wow, you've kicked it up a notch. It's a good one. Okay, next one, kiss of death. This is fun. Kiss of death. Kiss of death. Okay, think of an old fairy tale. And if someone has poison on their lips and they kiss another person, well, that kiss, which seems sweet at the time, is going to kill person number two. So the kiss of death, this is what it means. I'll read you the meaning and example here. Kiss of death, an action or event that causes inevitable failure. Okay, failing to move into online sales was the kiss of death for the retailer. Okay, so if your company did not do something, if your company signed with the wrong distributor, if your company did not hire a certain person or they did hire a certain person, whatever action was taken, if that action led to failure, led to inevitable failure, which means maybe it hasn't failed yet, but it will fail in the future. If it led to something, a company closing its doors, or a huge loss of money, a loss of income, that was the kiss of death. So hiring on that audit team was the kiss of death for us. All of their advice did not help in our industry. Or bringing on that all the new equipment was the kiss of death. That was the wrong equipment for the product that we need to manufacture. Or getting that government loan was the kiss of death. We can't keep up with the payment and demand that they want us to repay that loan at. So kiss of death is something you do that's going to lead to the death of something. Okay, three more to go here. Knee jerk reaction. Knee jerk reaction. So, if you've ever been to the doctor as a kid, I don't think the doctor does this with adults, but as kids, you'd sit on the bench or the table at the doctor's office and he'd have a little hammer, the doctor, and he'd hit your knee and your leg would go like this. And that's called a knee jerk reaction, just to test your reflexes. So, a knee jerk reaction in business English means you're reacting without thinking. So, if you say something too quickly without actually thinking through what to say correctly, or you take action and you're not actually thinking what the consequences of the action which you're suggesting taking, this is a knee jerk reaction. I'll read you the meaning and example here. Knee jerk reaction, an immediate and emotional response without careful thought. Example, the decision to cut costs was a knee-jerk reaction and not a thought-out strategy. So your company wanted to cut costs, fantastic, but you didn't really plan it out. You just thought, okay, we're losing money, let's cut costs. But if you didn't actually think that out, think it through, that was a knee-jerk reaction, probably not the best course of action. So something that's done too quickly. So a knee-jerk reaction is never positive in business English. It just means you reacted to something and you didn't think it through very well. So if you do make a mistake or you make a decision or you make a call is a synonym for decision in business English, and it ends up not being a good decision. Was not the best call. You can say it was a knee-jerk reaction at that moment. The client was unhappy, so I gave them a big discount. Now they want that for life. I made a mistake. At that moment, it was a knee-jerk reaction. It was a quick reaction to an issue that we had, and it wasn't the best decision I made. So knee-jerk reaction, decision not thought out, not thought through. Next one is know the ropes. This is an incredibly common idiom, to know the ropes. This comes from the world of sailing. So if you've ever been on a sailboat, like an actual sailboat, you have sails, big bits of fabric, and then you have huge amount of ropes. ropes, like cords, string, but they're ropes. They're big, and to sail effectively, you need to know the ropes. So you can learn the ropes. That's another idiom. I'll get to it when I get to L. And then you know the ropes. So if you know the ropes on a boat, you know what each rope does. You know how to control the wind. You know how to control the boat. You know how to sail. So if you know the ropes, you know how to do something. And this is what it means in general English. I'll read you the meaning an example. Okay, to know the ropes, be familiar with how something is done. There you go. Example, after 10 years in the field, she really knows the ropes. Okay, so someone's worked in a certain field for 10 years. Well, they know that field very well. She knows the ropes. You know the ins and outs. You know how something works. If you're very familiar with something, you know the ropes. So, for example, I'm quite new to YouTube. I'm still learning the ropes or how to make videos. However, not teaching English, I know the ropes on how to teach English. I've been doing it for a long time. So this to know the ropes means you know how to do something very well. If you are interviewing, this is fantastic. If the interviewer is asking you, okay, well, what can you bring to this company that other candidates can't bring to this company or bring to this role? I hate that question, but they do ask it. And you can say, listen, I know the ropes in this department. I know the ropes in this industry. I know the ropes in accounting or whatever you're applying for. It just means I know this really well. I know what to do. I know my job. I know my industry. I know the ropes, which just means you're not going to be spending a long time training me. And again, if you are going into a role or you're interviewing for a role that is not maybe in your area of expertise, you can say, it doesn't take me a long time to learn the ropes. I very quickly learn the ropes, which means I'm very quick to learn things and adapt, and I can understand what to do very quickly. So to know the ropes means you know how to do something. It's fantastic. Okay, and the very last one is knock it out of the park. Okay, knock it out of the park. This is an idiom. Again, idioms come from gambling and sports and military and nature. To knock it out of the park comes from baseball. Even though this comes from baseball and baseball is mostly prevalent in the Americas and Asia. I mean, I did write this book, the Global Business English Mastery Series. I have lived and worked in Australia and in the United Kingdom. I do know global business English. So I did make sure that these idioms are ones that are used globally. So don't worry, even this is a baseball idiom, it's used across the world. So to knock it out of the park is if someone's the batter, that's the person with the bat, and the pitcher throws the ball, and if the batter hits that ball and it's knocked out of the park, which means he hits the ball outside the baseball stadium, basically, it's a home run. It is the best thing anyone could ever do in baseball. So if you knock something out of the park in business English, you succeed and then some. You what you've done is the highest level of something. If you knocked it out of the park, you were a great success. You did an incredible job with something. How was your interview? Oh, I knocked it out of the park. I got the job offer then and there. Or your presentation was amazing. You knocked it out of the park. Or this client contract discussion is going to be really difficult. I hope I knock it out of the park. So to be very successful in something, do something very well. I'm going to read you the meaning and definition here. Okay, knock it out of the park. To do something exceptionally well. There we go. Example, the newbie knocked it out of the park with this quarter's results. So newbie is someone new at your work. A rookie, a newbie is someone new at your work. But maybe a newbie, they've only been with your company for 5 months. And if they exceeded all their KPIs, wow, they did that exceptionally well. They succeeded more than we thought they would. They knocked it out of the park. So this is what it means to knock something out of the park, to succeed beyond expectations or to do something exceptionally well. This could even be you hire a caterer for a company event, and then the caterer it follows up with you. How was the event? How was the food? What was the feedback? And you knocked it out of the park. Everyone, they talked about the food all evening. So you did a great job. You knocked it out of the park. So this is very, very great, very useful. This is great when you're giving feedback for someone who did something incredibly well. Or if you are managing people and you want to say, listen, this is going to be very important. We need to do this exceptionally well. We need to knock this product launch out of the park. We need to knock this presentation out of the park. We need to knock this meeting out of the park, which means we have to do it at our best ability. Okay, so it's quiz time. If you have the book at home, I mean, you'll know that I have lots of dialogues, lots of quizzes, lots of exercises in the book for every letter and collections of letters. In these episodes, I'm just doing the one quiz, which is a dialogue. And a dialogue will have regular business English, and you have to think of which of the idioms in this letter can replace those ones. Okay, so this is page 74 of the book if you're reading from the book at home. Okay, this is a conversation. Now, this conversation is a developer and a contractor discussing progress of a development. Now, again, here I'm going to read the basic words. You have to think of which idiom can replace these words. Here we go. Okay, this is between Mark and Dorian. Okay, Mark says, Dorian, I appreciate you taking the time to meet. We need to talk about the delays on the Oak Ridge project. Dorian responds, of course, Mark. We've had some supplier issues, but we're continuing. The framing is almost done and the roofing will start next week. So continuing, think of an idiom that replaces continuing. That's good to hear, but we can't afford to fall behind schedule. Investors are watching this project closely, so we need to remain focused. Any more delays could be the end for future funding. Okay, we need to remain focused. Think of an idiom starting with K, meaning remain focused. And any more delays could be the end for future funding. The end of something. Think of an idiom that could be the end of something. Okay. Also, I need you to notify me on any changes. The last thing I need is a surprise right before our next investors meeting. Okay. I need you to notify me on any changes, to notify someone, to keep them informed. Remember the idiom for that one? Let's continue. Dorian responds, no problem. But speaking of surprises, I've noticed you've been quiet about the next phase. Are we expanding or is it just for now? So he says, I notice you've been quiet about the next phase. Are we expanding or is it just this for now? So someone's been quiet about something. They're not sharing information. Quiet. Do you remember the idiom for that one? Mark responds, let's just say there are possibilities right now. I'm avoiding attention until we secure more funding. So he says, let's just say there are possibilities. Right now, I'm avoiding attention until we secure more funding. So avoiding attention, remember the idiom for that one? Avoiding attention. If things go well, we might raise the bar with a second development nearby. If things go well, we might raise the bar, increase the quality, increase the intensity with a second development nearby. Dorian responds, sounds like a solid plan. I'll make sure everything stays on track so we can finish strong. Okay, I'm going to read this dialogue for you one more time without stopping. But again, you're listening for synonyms for continuing. Remain focused. The end of something. Notify me. To be quiet about something. Avoiding attention and raising the bar, raising intensity or quality. I'm going to read this for you one more time and then I'll go through with the answers and give you the idioms. Okay. Dorian, I appreciate you taking the time to meet. We need to talk about the delays on the Oak Ridge project. Of course, Mark. We've had some supplier issues, but we're continuing. The framing's almost done and roofing will start next week. That's good to hear, but we can't afford to fall behind schedule. Investors are watching this project closely, so we need to remain focused. And any more delays could be the end of future funding. Also, I need you to keep me notified on any changes. The last thing we need is a surprise right before the next investors meeting. No problem. But speaking of big surprises, I noticed you've been quiet about the next phase. Are we expanding or is it just this for now? Let's just say there's possibilities. Right now, I'm avoiding attention until we secure more funding. If things go well, we might raise the bar with the second development nearby. Sounds like a solid plan. I'll make sure everything stays on track so we can finish strong. Okay, that's the original dialogue. Now let's go through and see if you were able to guess which idioms can go in there. Okay, so the very first one, continuing, keep the ball rolling. Next one, remain focused, keep your eye on the ball. Next one, the end of something, the kiss of death. Okay, next one, to keep someone informed, keep me in the loop. Next one, to be quiet about something. Keep your cards close to your chest. Next one, to avoid attention. Keep a low profile. And the last one, to raise the bar, raise intensity, raise quality, to kick it up a notch. So I'm going to read you the entire dialogue now with those idioms in there. Okay, let's go. Here we go. One more time. Okay, Dorian, I appreciate you taking the time to meet. We need to talk about the delays on the Oak Ridge project. Of course, Mark. We've had some supplier issues, but we're keeping the ball rolling. The framing's almost done and the roofing will start next week. That's good to hear, but we can't afford to fall behind schedule. Investors are watching this project closely, so we need to keep an eye on the ball. Any more delays could be the kiss of death for future funding. Also, I need you to keep me in the loop on any changes. The last thing I need is a surprise right before our big investors meeting. No problem. But speaking of surprises, I notice you've been keeping your cards close to your chest about the next phase. Are we expanding, or is it just this for now? Let's just say there's possibilities. Right now, I'm keeping a low profile until we secure more funding. If things go well, we might kick it up a notch with second development nearby. Sounds like a solid plan. I'll make sure everything stays on track so we can finish strong. There you go. How'd you do? Hopefully you did well with those idioms. So, I mean, really, I mean, with the idioms with K, I mean, how many were there? Maybe, I don't know, like 11 or so. I mean, these are still, I mean, idioms are new words and it's difficult to remember them, and you have to be careful when you learn them and use them, because one little word you can miss an article or use the wrong preposition, it could change the meaning of the idiom. So if you had some difficulty with this, no problem. Just go back and re-listen to it and then come back again and do the quiz. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of my podcast. I'll see you back for the next letter.